And what better way than to award our Teacher of the Year for 2018, Caitlin Thorsell. But before we hear from Caitlin, I want to introduce somebody that is very special to us. He represents a governor of this state that is a tremendous friend of education. He is an amazing friend of teachers, and I know that very clearly because of the discussions that we've had. When I spoke to him yesterday, and this is another story that we don't want to interfere with this one, but regarding approval of our Every Student Succeeds Act plan, he was not feeling his best with a cold, and so I'm sure that that's what's happened this morning. And here to deliver remarks on behalf of Governor Justice is Chief of Staff Mike Hall. Mike is actually had the chance to know Mike. I'm honored to know Mike through the years. He's been my senator in the district where I reside. He represents us well, and he's been a tremendous chief of staff for the governor. So, Mr. Chief.
Thank you very much. I know in the hours that I spend with the governor that at the top of his list is education. And he thinks about it a lot. Obviously, I said this to somebody the other day, that we have an unusual governor in this sense. For those of you in education, here's a guy that's in the public school system all the time. As a matter of fact, some of us are going down tonight. Invite all of you to go watch the Greenbrier East girls play as they take on, I think, a top 10 team. They're number 2. So, he does. I think his recommendations, which he just barely touched on last night, reflect his experience in the public school system. It's not academic with him. It's real. So. We're proud of that about our governor. He does apologize for not being able to be here today. But we're here today to celebrate what you do every year. And I just met Caitlin. Caitlin, I was asking her about where she's from, Jefferson County. Even though I live in Putnam, I have spent a good bit of time in Jefferson County in the last 2 years. And, you know, she's near the Virginia border, the school is. So we're proud of the opportunity to be able to present her with this award, and I think it comes with a little amenity, doesn't it? I mean, she's going to get something to take away from here today. But before we bring her up, I do want to thank Highmark Blue Cross, the sponsors, and obviously Horace Mann Insurance and the West Virginia Lottery. Is Alan here? There he is back there, our director, for contributing to this. It's always a highlight of the governor's State of the State every year to introduce our Teacher of the Year. Because I think we all know, and he didn't mention it, but my wife was also, never made it to Teacher of the Year. She was a principal, but I lived with the realities of the public school system for most of my married life, and hearing what she had to say at night when she came home and told me what happened. So. Yeah, she was awarded principal. She's now happily retired from all that. But anyway, I have nothing else to add. I'm going to bring back Dr. Payne and let him. Thank you for coming, and it's our pleasure to participate in the awarding of the Teacher of the Year award to Caitlin. Thank you very much, Chief.
Okay, so I'll acknowledge some very special guests after we hear from this year's Teacher of the Year. Please join me in welcoming as we bring up Caitlin Thorsell.
Thank you, guys. I'm still not quite getting used to the standing ovations, but I'm working on it. Good morning. I would first like to say thank you to Governor Justice, the West Virginia Department of Education, and our State Board of Education for their support of the Teacher of the Year program and allowing me to share some words with you guys this morning. I would also like to thank Toyota, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Horace Mann, and the West Virginia Lottery for their sponsorship of this program. Country roads take me home. A line from the famous John Denver song that is played at almost every event held here in West Virginia. A line simplistic in its nature, yet so complex in its meaning. Words that, when broken down, really speak to education and our role in educating the young people of the Mountain State. Roads. There are all types of roads you can travel on throughout our state. Paved city streets, 6-lane interstates, dual highways, gravel lanes, dirt paths that I'm not even sure we could really call a road. These roads intertwine throughout the mountains and valleys of our state and form a very intricate transportation system. Just as diverse as these roads are the students who travel them every day. Students that walk into our classrooms, take a seat, sometimes reluctantly, and prepare for the day. They come from very diverse backgrounds, learn in various ways, have unique life experiences, and often come from low socioeconomic situations. Yet, they sit in our classroom, waiting to learn the same subject as other students their age across this country. How, as teachers, can we maintain their road? Greet them with a smile and a hello every day when they enter our classroom, regardless of what may have occurred the previous day. We should plan our lessons to include differentiated instruction that encompasses all the learning styles of our students. We shouldn't get discouraged if a student doesn't understand a concept right away. Try again, because that student will remember that you didn't give up on them. You never know what kind of life potholes a student might have to navigate around. So be open-minded, show them you care, and be the flagger that navigates them around any obstacle on their path to opportunity. I recently came across a travel blog called The Local Tourist, and a couple drove from the Chicago area to San Diego and back. It had been a childhood journey of the wife, and they traveled 6,479.5 miles. They documented their journey through journals, pictures, and a blog, and eventually wrote a book about their experience. The article that caught my eye was about the lessons they learned from their road trip. Coincidentally, this goes along with the word roads, and I would like to share those lessons with you. So here is their list entitled 8 Life Lessons Learned from an Epic Road Trip. 1. Time passes slower when you're present, so be present. 2. Success requires preparation. Be prepared. 3. Leave room for spontaneity. Be spontaneous. 4. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a necessity. So please be patient. 5. When you see a chance, take it. Be proactive. 6. Stuff is overrated. Choose experience over things. 7. You can't do it all, so be realistic. 8. And this one I think is the most important. Never take your blessings for granted. Be thankful. And I think that these 8 lessons not only relate to teachers in education, but also students on their journey through our education system. The last one that I read, never take your blessings for granted, leads me to our next word in the lyrical line, home. A place you hold close to your heart. A place, no matter where you go in life, you always want to return. For me, home is West Virginia. Yes, this is where I've lived my entire life, attended school from kindergarten all the way through graduate school, and met some of my best friends. But for me, it's home for other reasons. West Virginia is rooted with people that work hard, are dedicated to their task, persevere in any situation, have developed a sense of community, and tackle life with a never-give-up attitude. As educators, we are tasked with developing these traits in the future generations of our state. But how do we create this place among our students? My answer is through service. While we are teaching invaluable content, we also have a responsibility to shape and mold our students into contributing members of society. Help them discover the power of being a servant leader and what it's like to lose themselves in the service of others. Provide them with opportunities to help one another and be a good friend. Show them that it doesn't matter what they've come from. What matters is where they are going and who they encounter along the way. Help your classmates, contribute to your family, serve within your community, take pride in where you're from. Maybe home really isn't a place, but more of a feeling you get because of an experience or a memory you have. This is what we must instill in the children of West Virginia. I'm not sure if John Denver really knew what his song would mean to the people of our state, and maybe he did. But what I do know with certainty is as educators, we have a tremendous road in front of us, one filled with curves, sharp turns, construction, and even rumble strips. But we've been given the equipment to guide our students to the path of success, and this path will lead them down the country roads that take them home. Thank you.
Remarkable Teacher of the Year, please have a seat. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to give you some fun facts about Caitlin Thorsell. First of all, her proud mother is here, Mrs. Thorsell. Would you kind of wave at everybody? There you are. Joe's here. Joe's Caitlin's boyfriend. How proud you must be of her. Caitlin is a teacher at Jefferson County High School, and she's an FFA teacher. So Coach Justice would be very proud to know that he has an FFA teacher that was the recipient, as he does know. I encourage you to have those discussions with him sometime. Caitlin works with FFA students. Her students compete nationally and are winners. Caitlin serves, if I'm not mistaken, this is not in my remarks, but as a volunteer firefighter in Jefferson County. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And provides, when she remarked about providing service, she truly embodies that and lives it on a daily basis. Here today from Jefferson County is a friend of yours and a friend of ours, Chairman of the Education Committee, Paul Espinoza. And also Vice Chair Joe Statler from Monongalia County. Now, I'm so new that are there other legislators in the room today that have had a chance to join us, because I want to be sure to have you recognized? Okay, just wanted to make sure. I'm still a little bit new and I haven't gotten to know them all, Mr. Chairman, so I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'd also like to introduce some other guests as Caitlin's here, and then we'll have you sit, and then we'll introduce our sponsors. Our State Board of Education is here, and I can tell you that their conscientiousness, the way that they approach the work, the commitment that they make to the children of West Virginia, and the support they provide me is absolutely invaluable. I can't even begin to tell you that the support that I feel. And I believe me, I wouldn't be here if we didn't have a board like this. So would you all stand and be recognized, please? I'd like to recognize my friend for a long time, Dale Lee. We don't always see eye to eye, but we know how to work together to get things done, right? Okay. Dale from WVEA. And also Amelia Quartz, used to be an assistant superintendent that I had the pleasure of hiring in the first go-around. Amelia from the Education Alliance. Okay. Dale, we are so proud of you, and we're going to now, and you can go ahead and join your family and your boyfriend, but we're going to introduce some sponsors that are going to be very, very meaningful and important to you in the next 10 minutes. We always have partners in education that we value, and for this particular program, which is near and dear to me, this is a program sponsored by the Council of Chief State School Officers, of which I'm one. There are 50 of us. And it's a program that started years ago with CCSSO because we honor the profession of teaching, and we understand just how valuable that profession is. I've already asked Caitlin's superintendent if we could borrow her for about 15 days because we're going to parade her around. And I actually talked to the Commissioner of Agriculture last night, and he wants a piece of you too, okay? So he may be knocking on your door to talk about agricultural education programs and thinks you'd be a tremendous ambassador. That would be Commissioner Leonard. Anyway, I would like to introduce our sponsors and give them a chance to make a couple of remarks at this point in time. First, I'd like to welcome Jim Fawcett, who's president of Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Jim, would you join us and present a few words? Thank you for your awesome.
Like you, I'm relatively new to Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, although this is the second time I've had the honor of doing this. And Caitlin, I can tell you without a doubt, this is the most fun thing I get to do all year. Also, I'm honored to be partnered with Toyota West Virginia. I'm honored to be partnered with Horace Mann Companies as well as the West Virginia Lottery. Partnering with education is very important for us. On the corporate side, we of course have a foundation, and we do have healthy environmental school grants, and if any of you have any questions on how they work with the Highmark Foundation, Kathy McAllister's here. As well as on the corporate side, and Caitlin, this should ring out to you, we've funded some community gardens, and we've funded the construction of community gardens in Parkersburg and Hurricane. And I've got to tell you, I had my first garden ever last year. I'm a kid out of Pittsburgh, and moving and living in Parkersburg, it was a fun event, and I've got a lot of learning to do. I need help. Having education leadership here, the partnership between private industry and businesses like ours, this is so important. The State Board of Education, workforce preparedness. We are competing against the rest of the states of America. We're Blue Cross Blue Shield of West Virginia. I compete. Hiring is absolutely a critical thing we do. How long it takes for us to train our employees, get them up to speed is important. And I would also like to say that it works both ways. Unlike Toyota, Leah and I have talked about this, we are largely a female employee base. We have over 75% of our employees are females. I've got a lot of moms. And when things are not going well at school, things are not going well at Highmark. We are directly connected. And I'll go one step further. When I get the opportunity to recruit some of our critical staff, I'm thinking of actuaries, economists, lawyers, the higher educated employee staff we have. We talk about the job, we talk about the quality of life, and we talk about the schools to serve their children. You are absolutely a recruitment tool for us in our attraction of high caliber talent, and we do well. And I'm competing routinely against Pennsylvania and Delaware in particular. Also, productivity. For the superintendents, you need to know I sit there with bated breath. Is it going to be a 2-hour delay or a school closure? Because that is one of the single biggest impacts on my productivity that I cannot control. I do prefer 2-hour delays. Of course, I want the children to be safe. Enough about the business side, but it's an important connection. We are very connected, and we at Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield don't often get the opportunity for this dialogue. Caitlin, you are absolutely inspiring of excellence. I had the opportunity to meet you last night. Your students are fortunate to have you, but I'm also aware there are many of you in West Virginia, and you're of course representing them, which gets into your responsibility to your peers and doing all the things that are going to be a little bit difficult. Today's going to be easy. This is the good part, but you do need to bring the value of how good it is to be a teacher in the state of West Virginia. This is where we want you to be a teacher, and the business community supports you. To your administration, congratulations. To your community, it is impressive. I do look at our key employees. What do you do beyond work? What do you volunteer for? Being a firefighter and EMT involvement, your community is fortunate to have you. Where's Mom? My congratulations goes to Mom, because my thank you goes to Caitlin. So would you please come up? On behalf of the nearly 800 employees at Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of West Virginia, we are honored today to present you with this check for $5,000.
Nice. Jim, thank you very, very much. It'll keep coming here for a minute. All right?
You want me to stay up here?
Yes, sir. Jim, thank you very much for your generosity and your sponsorship. We deeply appreciate that. I'd like now to welcome Steve Delisle from Horace Mann, but before he comes up, I want to talk about how this partnership got started. Years ago, they call this 1.0, and then I'm in 2.0, I guess. In 1.0, the Teacher of the Year from a county called me, and she said, I am so thrilled to receive the gift of the use of a car from Toyota, which we'll talk about later. But I can't afford the insurance because it's more for me to insure that vehicle than it is for my personal policy. My agent for years has been Ethan Poole, Ethan and Denise. And thank you for that, by the way. You've endured 4 of my kids. So I called Ethan and I said, would you have any interest in sponsoring the Teacher of the Year? And he said, absolutely. That sponsorship has grown from a simple insurance policy to a monetary award for the Teacher of the Year, for the Service Personnel of the Year, and for the finalists for Teacher of the Year. And we are deeply indebted to the Horace Mann companies. And specifically today, I'd like to ask Steve Delisle of the Horace Mann companies. Steve, are you a national scope or the state? I forget.
Regional, yeah.
Regional representative from the Horace Mann companies for their generous sponsorship to bring a few words and maybe to give Caitlin a little something too. So thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Horace Mann is a unique company. We were started back in 1945, over 70 years ago, by two teachers who thought it would be great to provide affordable car insurance to all educators. And since then, our company has expanded broadly across the United States to offer home insurance, life insurance, and retirement products to all the educators. We have a significant agent force here in West Virginia. Our agents are local agents providing some of our best programs to educators across the state. We have a student loan solutions program where we help and sit down with teachers with student loans to help them better manage their expenses and see if we can help them with their student loans. We have a financial service seminar that we go through with teachers to help them better budget their money, help them better save for retirement. And we also have a state teacher retirement seminar that we go through to help them better understand their pension. So we're a big part of helping educators, and we really appreciate everything they do. I come from a background of educators. My dad was an 8th grade middle school teacher and used to coach too until he came into the insurance business with Horace Mann. So I really appreciate everything that teachers do, and Horace Mann, the company, is dedicated to educators across the country. So Caitlin, on behalf of Horace Mann and all the Horace Mann agents in West Virginia, I'd like to present a check. You. $5,000.
How are you going to get all this home? Did they fit in that car or not? I don't know. Steve, thank you so much from Horace Mann for your generosity, Ethan, and I forgot his name. Ryan, thank you very much for all of your generosity and your sponsor. I had a golf buddy a long time ago. His name was Tommy Young. I got to know Tommy over the years, and he found that he landed at the West Virginia Lottery. And he called me one day and he said, you know, our director, Alan Laird, has real interest in education. After all, that's one of the purposes for which the lottery was founded. But he said, more than that, really have an interest in supporting teachers. We'd be very interested in sponsoring something for the Teacher of the Year. So without further ado, Tommy, do you want to position that sign? And I'm going to ask Alan Laird, who is the director of the West Virginia Lottery, to come up to the podium to bring remarks, and he has a little something too. Alan, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
We'd like to congratulate Caitlin as well, and we also do not want to forget that there are also awards given to each county for the Teacher of the Year award in that particular county. Since the inception of the West Virginia Lottery over 30 years ago, the West Virginia Lottery has distributed over $3 billion to education in West Virginia. And we're honored to partner today with these other fine partners to award the Teacher of the Year award, and we think it's a great program. I look forward to continuing to work for education in the state. As indicated last night by the Governor's State of the State address, he is very, very dedicated to education. And we feel that's a very important thing for the state of West Virginia, and the best way to grow the state of West Virginia. So we are very, very dedicated, and will continue to work for education in the state of West Virginia, Caitlin. And it's my honor today to present a check for the Teacher of the Year program for $14,100.
Thank you.
Sit down and have the other
Now, I have to make sure Caitlin knows not all 14,000 goes to her. But in their commitment to education and to teachers, Alan, I really appreciate this, Tommy. They provide $300 to every county teacher of the year, all 55. And so that amount of money represents their commitment and donation to our Teacher of the Year program. We're deeply appreciative of your sponsorship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Finally, and the original sponsor of the Teacher of the Year program, I would like to bring to the podium Leah Curry, President of Toyota Manufacturing, West Virginia. And without further ado, Leah, thank you so much.
Well, good morning. We're all here because of you and people like you. You know, it's been a pleasure of mine to be a part of this. We're very humble. The other sponsors, Highmark, Horace Mann, and the West Virginia Lottery, we appreciate the collaboration and the ownership for this program. I'd like to tell you a little bit, you know, Toyota's involved in many ways with many of the school systems, as Amelia knows, through Education Alliance, and also the colleges. We do Born Learning through Education Alliance, which helps teach parents, students, and teachers what importance for early learning and development. We also involve our 2-year program, which, you know, the governor spoke a little bit about last night on skilled trades, which is, we call it our Advanced Manufacturing Technician program with Bridge Valley. We are involved with on the boards of about all the colleges. But also the University of Charleston actually comes to the plant, and we have 80 members enrolled on their own time in between shifts going for their bachelorate or master's degree. So needless to say, we are very passionate about it, education, and I really appreciate the passion I hear in West Virginia from the governor. You know, Mike, last night when you talked about servant leadership, we were trying to find our tickets, and actually he brought them to us. So you talk about servant leadership. But the Department of Education, everyone here is very vital to making sure that we have the best workforce of the future. And one little story, a lot of times you don't know how many people you reach, right? And so each and every teacher, every year, reaches a lot of kids. And one of our advanced manufacturing technicians is African American. He was in and out of some trouble throughout his school year, throughout his school life. But there was one teacher in high school that was a math teacher that saw the potential in him. And because of that one teacher, he went on to really graduate in a 2-year degree program, has been extremely successful as an advanced manufacturing technician. So you don't know the words that you give, the smile that you give, the teaching and coaching that you give. It goes unsaid how many minds and souls that you reach. And I'm truly appreciative of it. So thank you. You know, growing West Virginia is a real passion for Toyota. I am so excited. I can see a huge difference between last year and this year, just the excitement in the air. And our workforce is a result and a product of the education that goes on, the families, the determination to make West Virginia a better place. And you know, and that's why Toyota has invested over $1.5 billion in the last 20 years, and we just recently announced the hybrid transaxle coming, which is another 100-something million, added to 400 million that we did before. But that wouldn't happen if it wasn't for people like you teaching our children and the parents being dedicated to having strong workforce and people with passion to live out beautiful and intelligent lives. So on behalf of every team member at Toyota West Virginia, I just want to say we're going to present you with a Camry that's brand new, 2018, and in that Camry, our team members actually built the transmission and the engine. So it's even more exciting. And I told her, be careful because you're going to get up to about 80 miles an hour really quickly because it's got a lot of power. But she said she knows people in the police department. And that wouldn't be a problem. Oh, I can't say that part. Okay. Just kidding. Anyway, thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. So, also, we're going to go outside, and we're going to present her the actual car and the big key. And I just want to say from our Burt Wolf, John Giordano, I always say your name wrong. Giordano. And Will Patterson are here, and they are helping us supply you with the camera. So they're there also. So we can, after whatever's next, we can go outside.
May I thank you very quickly, and after I make a couple of comments about Leah and Toyota, then we'll join Leah outside. That's a great moment. Leah, thank you. I live in Putnam County, and we deeply appreciate your corporate citizenship. Toyota is a tremendous corporate citizen, and I mean that in the truest sense. You're involved in lots and lots of community volunteer activities. I go to the Y every morning. You've helped sponsor programs and facilities at the Y, and not every morning. I don't look like that. I missed the past couple of mornings because y'all are keeping me too busy. But anyway, we deeply appreciate. Okay, Mr. Chief, that's we really do get along. I just want to say thank you very much to Toyota, to all of our sponsors, to all of our guests, and Leah has invited us outside, so we will go out and turn left, I believe.
Yes, it is there, just in time.
All right, very good. And after that, we will conclude our ceremony. So thank you all for coming.